That's sounds too far up. Okay, okay. That's all right. Hi guys, hey everyone. All right, we're going to be doing a little bit of meal prepping while talking about redemption stories, Spider-Man, all that, all that jazz. Okay. Yeah, it's been a hot minute. Um, Different setting, my kitchen. I've been feeling far more comfortable working and operating from my kitchen lately. It's just where I spend a lot more time. And yeah, I've grown to appreciate being in the kitchen a bit more lately, um, mainly through some really amazing people that were in my life. So today, what we're going to be doing is working on a little bit of meal prep, nothing spectacular. I don't really plan on actually cooking out any full meals. One thing I like to do is not necessarily meal prep. I like to ingredient prep, if that makes any sense. So I do generally like to still make meals every day, 3 times a day if I can. Technically, I have about maybe one processed meal a week now. I'm trying just really hard to be healthy, to just try and take care of myself a little more now. And anyhow, like I was saying, I don't necessarily meal prep. I like to ingredient prep. So I may not always know a whole week in advance as to exactly what I want to eat, but I do know an hour in advance before I eat what I want to eat usually. So what I like to do is just make sure that I have all the ingredients in my fridge already prepped and ready to use. And what I mean, just kind of cutting them up, putting them into little containers ready to go. Specifically with my vegetables, one thing I'm going to be doing today is I like to chop them up and I like to throw them into the air fryer with a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of salt and pepper. I just really love the taste of charred veggies, you know, whether it's going to be in soups or curries, with my ramen, mashing them up and making sauces. It just adds, I don't know, that little bit of char always tastes pretty phenomenal. So I'm going to be doing that. And yeah, while we're doing that, also let's talk a little bit about the newest Spider-Man trailer that's come out because there's a lot about redemption in there. I'm connecting very deeply with those tones right now. So it's yeah, good feeling space to be in. All right, so the first thing we want to do is let's get some of these vegetables out that we're going to be prepping up here. And let's see, for me, usually I like to have uh, cherry tomatoes, which I know sounds weird, carrots as well, which is, again, I know sounds kind of strange and weird, but we're going to go with it. Also, I like to put a little bit of garlic in there. And let's see, what else do we have? Oh, yeah, yeah. My onion. Do we have another onion? We have some peppers. Let's do that. You know what? Usually I like to have a full onion, like a white onion that I like to chop up and throw into there as well. But I already used it to, I actually minced it all up. So I have this, I don't know if this is going to work. So unfortunately, I'm not going to have onion for this go. That's a super bummer. I have peppers. I really love using onions, so this is actually kind of it's really bumming me out. All right, that's okay. We'll roll with it. You know what? Let's do this. Oh man, I have some old Brussels sprouts I need to go through, so I'm gonna probably clean those out. See exactly what I can use from there. And let's see, I have some old cabbage that I also want to use up as well. What I usually like to do with my old cabbage or with lettuce is I like to just chop it up, throw it into a pot, put it on my stove, let the water kind of reduce just a little bit, throw some oil, a little bit of salt, pepper, garlic powder, a little bit of chili powder, let it reduce, and then yeah, it turns kind of soggy and it's not really the greatest looking thing right off the hop, but if you just throw it into a really hot pan right away, it also gets a little bit of a char while it starts to reduce that water. Then I find that that's really awesome to add to soups or like when I'm having ramen, throwing that on top of there. It's kind of like a wilted cabbage, so it also goes really well with like noodle dishes. So if I'm making chow mein, it tastes really great with that. I just love having it on the go. It's a really great filler. It's really healthy. And, you know, it actually tastes pretty good too. So we might be using this. Maybe. I'll keep it there for now. That's not the top priority. Neither is my Brussels sprouts. We're not going to be using that right away because I wasn't planning on it. I was planning on the onions. So that's kind of rough that I don't have that ready to go, but that's okay. This is kind of like an odd set of vegetables to char, I know. Not many people would ever think about like charring like carrots or or cherry tomatoes, but I tell you, you put that little bit of char on them and it tastes so good, so good. And I like to use my air fryer for all this. So let me crack that bad boy out. Now, when I was watching that Spider-Man trailer, okay, I know a lot of people are super hyped. There's oddly, okay, yeah, everyone's hyped except for, I saw some kind of quote online from XQC, and I know, notoriously, not really does anyone ever go to XQC for higher level thoughts on much things, but he has a very polarizing opinion on a lot of stuff, and he apparently thinks the whole thing looks AI generated. I don't think it looks AI generated. I don't. But I do think it lacks a little bit of polish. But I do also know that a lot of times they'll kind of like grab whatever footage that they can right away together and before it's completely mastered to send out kind of a trailer just to get everyone hyped up and ready for what's going to be coming out. So we might not have seen actually the fully polished production or production value of what they're going to be releasing. And that's okay. I think that's all right. But yeah, AI, I mean, that's going to be something that's going to be on everyone's mind from now on too, right? Like even with using, like for this live stream, like I have, well, I don't have actively, but I was using Gemini on the fly for, I was thinking like, do I need someone to be talking to? Do I need like a co-host? Should I be using the live stream, not live stream, the live chat feature with Gemini? Like, should I be talking to Gemini? It feels a little weird. I do sort of use AI in my daily workflow a little bit, mainly for scheduling and like let me know exactly what I planned out for the day. But I don't really necessarily use Gemini in a conversational aspect. I'm not down there yet. I know some people totally are. Whatever, you do you. That's cool. Whatever. That's totally fine. If especially in a world right now where it's harder to connect with people. And it's oddly easier to connect with artificial things because maybe accessibility, maybe, I don't know. Maybe we're just living in a world where we're kind of losing touch with each other. I mean, I definitely have been down that. Like sometimes we find ourselves in places where no matter what the right intentions are, no matter how good we want to be, and maybe even essentially are, man, like we can kind of spin out and get so caught up in our own ego, in our own sense of self, maybe even preservation, I don't know, and lose sight of the things and the people that ground us, that make us happy, that really bring value to life. And I feel maybe that's one reason too why I connect really well with Spider-Man. He seems to be a character that is already fraught with guilt. A lot of times they're for things that he hasn't done, but sometimes they are for things that they've done, So I think when you find yourself on your own redemption journey, trying to find yourself, reconnect with yourself, sometimes it's a little easier when you're able to explore it through the narrative of comics, movies, other stories. You feel a little less alone, For me, I have been doing it through food a little. I love being in my kitchen. I've never always known exactly what to do. I am by no means a professional at anything culinary, but I grew up always watching my folks and my grandparents cook a lot, and there's been people in my life who have, emboldened that love, that genuine necessity, and not from like I need food necessity, as in like this fills you in different ways, this fills you here, and here. You know, if you eat if you eat correctly, not only are you doing your body a service, but you're doing your heart a service, you're doing your head favors, and ultimately you're respecting also the people around you who care about you and love you as well, right? You're keeping yourself healthy and happy for them. So that has been my redemption tale, sort of, without mincing words and getting too in the weeds. But um, yeah, I've been finding new rituals and new things to keep myself healthy and happy while constantly diving down into media, whether it be with comics and movies and such, but still finding my finding my own way back to a place of self-love. And I think maybe on that journey to self-love, part of that is rediscovering self-care. It's hard to love yourself if the bare necessities of life that you're giving to yourself aren't really great too, because then essentially if you're treating your body sort of like trash, then you actually won't have the energy and ability to even enjoy the things that you do love about life. So that's been a hard journey for me because oh God, I love sugar. Daddy loves me some sugar. I love sugar. I love cookies. I love candies. I love all the things that are super unhealthy. So this has been quite the journey so far. And I'll tell you, I do have sugar every so often, but my main rule is I will eat sugar, but I refuse to drink it except for like a hot beverage, like if it's a coffee or a hot chocolate, a cup of tea. I give myself that allowance for adding sugar, but I won't have like maybe juice or soda pop. That was the first thing to kind of cut off, and then slowly I started getting more invested in cooking, thinking about like um, even like raiding my parents' kitchen cabinets for old cookbooks that they grew up with. And so it's been giving me a chance to kind of delve back into things from a cultural aspect, I guess. Like this book, my family has used for making all sorts of dishes from back home once they moved here to Canada. And it's been a little bit of an emotional journey, kind of getting reacquainted with. It's so small. It's so small. It's so tiny. Um, there's so few printings of this book. It's like it's actually all typed out, and there's like handwriting all through it that like my grandmother put in there, and then my mom put in here. So I'm looking forward to diving into making a lot of these recipes and getting a bit more reacquainted with my my culture as well. So there's going to be that aspect, but before we delve into any of that, I just got to get through the week, ladies and gentlemen, and that takes prepping some food. Okay, so we have our onions. That's ready to go. Let's get me a cutting board. I know that looks like a cutting board there, but that isn't the one that I usually like to use. I'm going to be using this one here. Okay, this was a gift, from family. That's another beautiful thing I'm loving about cooking is that I'm finding that all the things that I cook my meals with, at least my favorite things, they're all from my favorite people. And one of the biggest resistors to cooking ourselves meals is it takes time, right? Like essentially for most people, I mean, even people who do love being in the kitchen, for people who are, Red Seal chefs, everybody loves convenience, like everybody wants a meal to just be ready. So it is hard. There is that bit of resistance to like, oh, do I have to cook myself another meal? But if you can put in place some almost routines, I guess, some little rituals in place, it kind of makes it not just easier, but something you sort of even look forward to. I I love being in the kitchen, but more so to eat than to cook. So this, like I said, it's been a journey for me. So getting used to cooking every meal, and I will cook 3 times a day, um, or at least twice a day. I do also benefit very heavily from working from home, so I do have access to my kitchen all day. So that's why I try and cook every one of my meals. Anyhow, rituals. Um, Coming into the kitchen for every single meal, the first thing that goes through my mind, I usually externalize it and I say it out loud, is I just say favorite people. And it sounds really weird and kind of not even relatable to anything here, but it reminds me that all of my favorite people, they have something to do with this space, with cooking, with food, with meals, like whether it be the laughter that you can share over them, um, share the experience of making a meal with someone special. And I'm also lucky enough that my absolute favorite people, a lot of my favorite people, they have throughout my life, gifted me with the things that I love to make all my meals with. So before I make any one of my meals, reminding myself about my favorite people, right away, it's just memories, So every meal that I end up making, it's already kind of imbued with good thoughts, good memories. So just like they say, the kitchen is the heart of the home. So maybe with making small little rituals like that, you're ensuring that every meal is not only cooked with intent and care, but also that this space, that the kitchen, the heart of the home, remains the heart of the home. It's a place where you can express what you're feeling, but also, feel what you need to feel while you're doing what you need to do. Okay, those are the feelings I'm working with, ladies and gentlemen, and so let's go with that here. Okay, so all these things, favorite people, all my favorite people, Okay, let's get a bowl out for this. Okay. What I'm going to do first is I already pre-cut up some onions. I'm just going to throw some of them already into this bowl. Now with this bowl, it's going to have a little bit of oil and salt and pepper in it as well. We're going to mix up all the chopped veggies in there before we throw it all into the air fryer. I absolutely love the taste of charred onions. My gosh, I think I just came about it through pure laziness, to be honest. I think I was just probably trying to prep some veggies or something, and I was like, I'm just going to throw this in there into the air fryer. And wow, just having onions that have that little bit of oil, salt, and pepper, and have that little bit of, like I said, that char on them. So good. I guess because they're slightly caramelized, so they're sort of sweet a little bit too. So I love that. Let's wash everything. Favorite people, folks. Favorite people. Remind yourself of that. Favorite people. I'm just going to wash out everything that we're going to prep. I always like to just kind of prep about 3-4 days worth. And then I portion out for the meal. I know carrots is also a pretty strange thing to throw into the air fryer, but they get so nice. They're softer. It's almost like like boiled carrots, I guess. They're a bit sweeter and softer. It has that texture, but they have that light char, like as if you threw them onto the grill or something. So it's just great. It's great. So if there's anything that you get from today, use onions and char your vegetables, ladies and gentlemen. Just do that, and your life will be phenomenal. I swear to God, everything that you cook with these veggies, after that, you will feel like a master chef because everything will just taste so good, so much better at least, and it's effortless. Okay, another thing that I wanted to also talk about. We're talking about redemption, and sure, Spider-Man is the poster boy for redemption. I feel like I'm taking up that spot right now as the poster boy for redemption. My God, your boy is trying his best to become a better person and upgrade, upgrade, upgrade. But I'm also thinking that if we're talking about redemption, one thing that I find that's interesting is that YouTube in general is a place of sort of redemption. Uh, in specifically in regards to like I'm thinking about uh, making YouTube media feel legitimate in any way, you know? Because I feel like most people who are into YouTube, whether you're a creator or if you're a consumer of YouTube, I don't know if it's just me, but when you're kind of explaining to your friends and family, like, so yeah, what do you do, or what do you like to watch, and you're like, I like watching YouTube. You always feel kind of you have to validate it, like it's why is it a weird thing to be engaged in consuming YouTube videos as your main form of entertainment or learning or what have you? So there is legitimacy, right? There's kind of like trying to build upon that. I don't know where I was going with this. We're going with legitimacy with YouTube and oh yes, yes. So YouTube creators, trying to be a creator, a YouTube creator, and this isn't from my own experience. I mean I don't know about this part of life, but trying to validate that experience as a job, as a way to make money, as a way to better yourself and become more. It definitely it's a challenge for a lot of creators, and I think one person who has been experiencing that or has experienced that in the past is Markiplier. So with Markiplier, I mean him also being one of those people who he's not hurting for cash. I mean the guy's doing all right. We know that. He was able to fund his most recent movie, and you know like that is crazy. Like that is absolutely crazy that a YouTuber can fund their own movies now. Like that's beautiful. I think that's amazing. And I know that's part of the discussion with Hollywood right now is there is that concern that I mean, so I guess in media, in all forms of media, there are gatekeepers to a certain degree. You know, whether it be in comic books or TV shows, movies, singing, whatever form of media that you're in, there are gatekeepers. And I would say I don't want to say maybe legitimate gatekeepers. What I mean by legitimate gatekeepers is I just mean people who are their business is part of that ecosystem for success. You know, so whether they be producers or recording companies or what have you. I'm not saying that they are absolutely necessary parts of success, but that is part of what we know as the journey as to becoming a professional in those fields, right? So, like, as a movie or as an actor, it was always that you kind of had to find opportunity, right? You have to audition for films, for productions. You're waiting for your big break, right? YouTube is one of those places, though, where it's not so much about waiting as it is about creating your opportunity. And I think once you become a creator on any kind of social platform, that's where your head kind of starts going to. It's not so much a matter of like I I'm waiting for an opportunity. I'm going to use this platform to create that opportunity. And I'm sure there's people who have kind of grown up with that narrative. And Markiplier, I think, is absolutely one of them. You know, he's been doing this for absolutely forever. Uh, and you know, like I mean, everyone knows that the guy's he's doing okay for himself. He's making pretty good cash, right? So, I mean, he's been able to afford himself. He's been able to afford himself the opportunity to really delve deep into all of his interests, and one of those has been film and cinema. I don't believe he studied as an actor. However, I think he did a pretty good job. I know that he has done some kind of like, you know, smaller bit stuff, but at the same time, I mean, he's had his YouTube channel going for absolutely forever. So he's used to this. He's used to the understanding of trying to connect with a thing that isn't living, that is going to be basically your vessel for your voice to other people. And I think he's great. He's great at it. Now I think part of that really interesting discussion, bigger discussion about Markiplier's movie. For those of you who don't know, Markiplier is like a massively giant YouTuber. He is kind of like an OG. I think he kind of came on the scene during the Let's Play stuff. Um, and he has done very well for himself to the point of where he's had like multiple channels, multiple business ventures, and he's been able to allow himself to go deeper into even acting and performing and creating opportunities for other people. And recently, I don't know, a couple years ago, a game came out called Iron Lung, and it was an indie developed game. Very cool premise. I'd kind of recommend just checking out the trailer for it. Like, it's kind of hard and intensive to explain it. There's a lot of deep lore, and it's kind of really a little off the wall from the very get go. So you need visual media to really explain it to you. You're in kind of like a submarine in a ocean of blood. Weird enough, right? Weird enough. Anyhow, he played this game, and from my understanding, he asked the game developer if he could have the rights or share the rights to the game, so he could actually produce a film for it. And yeah, the guy said yeah. He said for sure, absolutely. So over the course, I want to say it's over the course of the past 3 years, Markiplier has been working on this production, and like I guess I was thinking maybe there's 2 or 3 trailers that were dropped in the past couple of years, just to kind of let people know like this is what's been on his mind, this is what he's been working on, and I guess like I do kind of come from a little bit of a different angle, at least with regards to my friends and family, when it comes to seeing movies like this. Because, yes, I think it's a great movie. I do recommend it. I absolutely do recommend it. But I also would like to remind people that it's a YouTuber making a movie, and that isn't a slight at the quality. That has nothing to do with the quality of the film. It has more to do with understanding how this creator not only sees the world, but how he wishes to engage with this world. So what I mean is Markiplier being someone who has spent, how many years of his life as a YouTuber connecting to people through a camera, in his room playing games, it makes sense. It makes so much sense that the film that he would do really well in taking off the ground and being the lead actor in would be a film that takes place in one room and kind of just addressing a camera and a microphone, because that's kind of what happens in it. It doesn't by any shape or form feel like you're watching a YouTube video. It isn't that. All I mean is that understanding that he's a YouTuber helps you kind of understand the vision of the director and the main actor, the main producer of this, which was all one person, which was him. The big conversation with Iron Lung, though, has really nothing to do with that specifically. The big talk that's happening with Iron Lung is more to deal with he didn't go about getting his film produced or viewed in the traditional ways. Like, it was all a self-promoted, self-financed endeavor. So it was all one person doing everything. And I think he did it with a budget of about $3 million or something. And I believe in the first weekend, it had a return of over $50 million. So obviously that has Hollywood thinking things, and maybe a little even concerned that some traditional parts of Hollywood are now wondering if they are necessary, for people to get their movies or their films out there. And I do think that there is still a necessity for them, for some. But then for people like Markiplier, who is coming from a place of, dude's got a lot of bank. He's also got a burnt-in fan base. So it makes sense that this movie was not just something that he wanted to make, but he also wanted to make for the people that are part of his community. Uh, and when that movie was going to be released, I think I think it was only to be released in 50 theaters. I feel that was the initial thing, was 50 theaters internationally. But after it was released, all of his fans, now seeing that it wasn't released in their city, were now making actual requests for it to be played at local theaters. And that was happening over and over and over again, to the tune that Iron Lung was like the top grossing movie. I think it like outed a Sam Raimi movie, and uh, yeah, there's a lot to be said about not just the success of an indie movie getting that big, but once again about the business of Hollywood, and how necessary is it really to be going through all of those gates and dealing with all of those gatekeepers on your journey to getting what you want out there, you know? So, okay, I'm trying to focus just a little bit more. I have a sharp knife here. Okay, here we go. That's that. Let's get some garlic. Got some garlic left here. So, I mean, if you do have the chance to check out Iron Lung, I do really recommend it. Once again, not just speaking from the fact of that this is um, a, a self-financed and a YouTuber movie, but going on that whole thing about redemption, ladies and gentlemen, you know, it's at some point we all find ourselves in a place of redemption. You know, we do things that we never ever thought that we would ever do, and we find ourselves sometimes hurting the people that we never really, that we lose sight of. It's never an excuse. There is no excuse for ever doing that. But if you're ever going to find your way back, if there's a journey to self-love, and if self-care is one of those steps, then also self-understanding has to be one of those steps as well. I'm not exactly there yet, and I'm trying to get there, but you know, one step at a time, one step at a time. It helps having these movies and TV shows to kind of get lost and find your own narrative through the words of other writers and other characters, because sometimes it's like, yeah, man, I know how you feel. I know how you feel, you know? Okay, so we got our chopped veggies. All right, so I got some garlic, tomatoes, peppers, onions, all in there. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to throw a little bit of oil into this bad boy, and some salt and pepper. And then we'll just mix this up a little. And throw it into the good old air fryer. I wouldn't say don't be too generous with the oil that you're using, you know, just be a little careful, but you still want it to taste good, though, and we know that oil has something to do with it. So, you know, I get it. You gotta do what you gotta do, right? So if you have checked out the Spider-Man, the newest, I think it's Brand New Day, is the newest trailer, the newest movie that's coming out. I have a lot of friends who are incredibly excited for the movie. Now, not to say that I'm not, and I've voiced this a couple times, and it's not that I'm not excited. It's if anything, it's just that I'm kind of concerned. Sony has a habit of, in their endeavor to make any IP interesting, every successor, every sequel to a successful movie, they just cram more stuff in. That's all they do. They just cram more stuff in and think that's what's going to make it interesting. What I'm afraid of is that that now they've taken, I think it's about at least 4 to 5 different story arcs at the very least, not counting some of the random cover art that they've like thrown in, which is fine, whatever. Fan service is always awesome, but at least 4 to 5 different story arcs have been kind of crammed into this movie. And when I say cram, I'm trying not to be, that's not negative. That's not me being pessimistic or anything like that. That's just, I'm just saying like they've taken at least 4 to 5 storylines and put them into one movie. And now that can be done successfully, and that could be totally fine. What I'm concerned of is kind of coming from a very, I guess, niche place because I have a lot of those comics, those stories, and by letting each one breathe on their own as its own story, you're kind of honoring it, um, and not just honoring the story, but also a lot of comics and Spider-Man specifically delves into pretty deep self narratives that people connect with. I am definitely one of them, one of those people who connects with it on that level. And if you start putting too many stories together, you're kind of no longer honoring how some people even found themselves in those stories, how they connected with that material. It's kind of like saying like, hey, let's make a Shakespearean movie, so let's cram like Hamlet and Romeo and Juliet and like all these things, Midsummer Night's Dream, all into one story. There would be a lot of people who'd be like, what the hell are you doing? Like that's horrible. But you don't see too many people ever saying that in regards to comic movies. And I feel like the written word, the literature in a comic book is just as important as the imagery. And maybe because we combine those two, for some reason, a lot of people think it loses legitimacy as an art form, as a vessel for storytelling. So that's what I'm concerned with. I'm not concerned about it's not going to be a good story. I'm concerned about each one of those really important storylines, those really important story arcs, not having enough room or space to breathe in, you know? So that's what I'm concerned about. Okay, let's start this up. I'm going to put it at about 390 and it's going to be about 20 minutes. And let's start it up so it can preheat for a bit. All right. So we got our salt and pepper on our veggies. We're ready to go. Maybe I'll have a little drink. Mix a little drink while we're waiting for things to be all done. Whew. Always remember while you're cooking, while things are happening, you're not always busy. Sometimes while the heat's being applied to veggies, to food, whatever it is that you're cooking, there's always a couple seconds, a couple minutes in between to start cleaning it up. Clean up while you're doing stuff. Don't leave it to the very end. If you start leaving all the cleanup to the very end, then you never want to clean. All you want to do is get into the eating part, which, of course, who wouldn't want to get into that part? But then you leave all the dishes like forever, and then things get dry and hard and stuck, and it's kind of gross. You're just making your life far more difficult if you're not addressing these things right away. And when I say that, I also know there is a deeper narrative to like, yes, procrastination in general in life is probably something that we should probably never ever really do ever. Take it from me. Take it from me. Procrastination is not a good thing. All right. Oh, wow, I forgot about these. Well, I guess these are going to have to happen on another day. Maybe tomorrow. That's all right. I'll handle it tomorrow. All right, so still waiting for the air fryer to finish preheating and get it all heated up so we can throw the veggies in there. But that's, I would say, like the chopped up veggies that are at least pre-diced up, pre-cooked. That's, once you can get rid of that part of your meal prep, everything else is super easy, right? It's just putting things together and applying heat. Like cooking, definitely there's nuance to it. It can be incredibly difficult. However, but at its heart, it's not, right? You're cutting up things and you're applying heat to it. If you feel a little bit more special, then you can apply like seasoning. Hopefully you're doing that a bit more often. All right. All preheated, ready to go. So now it's all, the air fryer is heated up. So now I'm just going to mix all my veggies together here. So we, once again, have chopped up carrots, tomatoes, green peppers, and I have diced onions with salt and pepper. I diced up the onions, my hope, because usually I have them chopped up in big chunks. My hope is that they'll sort of maybe stick a little bit to the veggies here and still kind of char, you know, maybe still add a little bit of taste. So I'm hoping that that'll work out that way. We'll see. We'll see tomorrow. Maybe if we do another live stream tomorrow. I really actually just wanted to touch base, make a video, because I know I haven't been here for a little while. I wanted this to be more of a lunchtime thing. It's a little easier for me to connect with people and do things, whether it be with content like during lunch times. So maybe that's what it'll be. Maybe making lunch. Making lunch with y'all. That's going to be the jam. All right. Well, all that's cooking up. I'm going to go finish up some drawing and some work. And it's been great to be able to touch base with all of you guys. Maybe, I guess, vent a little as well and provide a little bit of insight into my life, because I know I don't tend to really do that. And I look forward to seeing you guys again in the future.